Hey, I'm Molly Karen Rose, and you are listening to the First Take podcast. Progressive helps you get a great rate on car insurance, even if it's not with them. They have this nifty comparison tool that puts rates side by side, so you choose a rate and coverages that work for you. So let's say you're interested in lowering your rate on your car insurance. Visit progressive.com to get a quote with all the coverages you want. You'll see Progressive's rate, and then their tool will provide options from other companies, all lined up and easy to compare, so that all you have to do is choose the rate and coverages you like. Progressive gives you options so you can make the best choice for you. You could be looking forward to saving money in the very near future. More money for, say, a pair of noise-canceling headphones, an Instapot, more puzzles, whatever brings you joy. Get a quote today at progressive.com. It's one small step you can take today that can make a big impact on your budget tomorrow. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates are not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on a Tuesday. Thank you for being with us. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith. I'm Molly Karen Rose. Stephen A. and I look like we're ready to go walk a red carpet together. We're going with the light colors.
Not me, but you are.
But no events today. That hasn't happened yet. Guys, let's get into the games last night. Stephen A. alluded to it. The Philadelphia 76ers deal with 2 losses, dropping their first game to the Washington Wizards in this series, now down 3-1 and losing Joel Embiid, who left with right knee soreness, did not return. His other superstar counterpart, Ben Simmons, really didn't pick up the slack. Here's Sixers head coach Doc Rivers on Simmons.
Doc, is there anything that you can do coaching-wise? Does the thought cross your head at all to take him out of the game there?
No.
Why not?
You want me to take Ben Simmons off the floor?
No, I mean, I got to ask the question.
I will pass on that one. He's pretty good, so I'll pass on that suggestion. I didn't think he was scared of the moment. He just didn't make them. So, again, with Ben, we're going to keep him on the floor. Unless you guys want us to bench him the whole game. If anybody wants us to do that, just let me know. And then I'll know you don't know basketball. Ben is not a 40-point guy. It's not what he does. He does other things for your team.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. Let's focus in on Ben Simmons here. Through 4 games this postseason, he's shooting just 25% from the free throw line. That mark is the worst such mark in NBA playoff history, even worse than Wilt and Shaq. Stephen A., do you agree or disagree with Doc Rivers on Ben Simmons?
Well, I agree with Doc Rivers if you're talking about benching Ben Simmons. Then you're right. You don't know basketball. You don't bench a Ben Simmons. But where I disagree with Doc Rivers, and we've been on this show, I've interviewed him, I've known Doc Rivers, love him to death, the whole bit. He doesn't embrace the level of importance about Ben Simmons shooting as I do. I believe that Ben Simmons is a jump shot away from being LeBron James. That's how great I think Ben Simmons can be. His only impediment is his inability to shoot the basketball. But as I told Doc Rivers to his face, as I told Doc Rivers in interviews, as I'll tell Doc Rivers on these cameras right now, to minimize the importance of that, no, we're not flowing with that. Ben Simmons is the reason why when Max started off the season and you were talking about Philly, I like, nah. Ben Simmons, to me, is going to cost the Philadelphia 76ers a title. All because he has no shooting ability. And if you're a guy, you're the Shaquille O'Neals of the world or others where you require participation, where somebody's giving you the basketball, okay, that's a bit different. When you are the primary ball handler, when you run the offense, when you're the point guard and you are no threat from the perimeter at all, to the point where you don't even attempt shots from the perimeter, that's a problem. And I'll close by saying this, Max, because he's shooting 61% from the free throw line. Okay, he doesn't shoot perimeter shots. He doesn't shoot threes, and he's shooting 61% from the free throw line during the regular season and 25% in the playoffs from the free throw line. There was a game against Portland this year, and I really, really wish I had that clip. I didn't call for it. That's my bad. Carmelo Anthony is guarding Ben Simmons when Ben Simmons comes past half court. And it was like he had a brain fart. And he said, what the hell am I doing? And sprinted back all the way into the paint because he knew Ben Simmons would not even attempt a jump shot. You can't do that and beat these Brooklyn Nets.
There's a difference between not being able to shoot like Rondo back in the day or Giannis now and having like a comically bad, like completely unable to score from more than like 6 feet from the basket. That's Ben Simmons. That might stop you from winning a championship if he's the best player on your team or even maybe the second best player on your team. But you can win with Ben Simmons. You can get by this series without Embiid.
Sure.
The question is, do they, like, you can build a powerhouse team around Ben Simmons, play 5 out or 4 out, like with Simmons either in the dunker spot or Simmons at point guard, right? If he's at point guard, it's 5 out because he's coming into the paint. You're either going to have to double him, someone's open, he's going to find the open man. That's why he has the most assists on 3-pointers since he entered the league, Ben Simmons. Or if you don't, he's gonna yam it. I mean, he's gonna get to the rim and he's gonna dunk it, right? So you can build a team around Ben Simmons like that, but that's not how they've built this team. That's not how they've been practicing with this team. But the question is, if they can get by the Wizards, especially up 3-1 without Embiid, yes, they can, and I believe they will, even without Embiid, even with Doc Rivers' record of up 3-1 and then not only not being able to close out, but losing the series. Yeah, they can win without Embiid because Simmons is that kind of player. And Stephen A., when you talk about he's a jump shot away from being LeBron, right. In other words, he's a jump shot away from being one of the greatest players who ever lived. He does everything else.
Correct.
He has Magic Johnson level court vision and passing. He has better handles than LeBron. He's 6'10". Like when you see the list of guys who can't shoot free throws in the playoffs, they're all 7-footers, and Simmons is he's 6'10". He is a great defender. For my money, the best defender in basketball because he can actually defend at an elite level, 5 positions. So you can absolutely win with him. You can beat this Wizards team with him. Whether or not you can win a championship with him, particularly when this hasn't really been his team, it's been Embiid's team, is a separate question.
Well, let me say this to you. Congratulations to you, because you annoyed me already, and we 5 minutes into the show. And here's why you annoyed me. Who the hell said they can't beat the Wizards with Ben Simmons being who he is? Who said that?
They're playing
Come on.
now.
You know good and damn well. The conversation is about the 76ers and your championship aspirations. Ain't nobody questioning whether or not they can beat the Wizards. Matter of fact, it would be of all the struggles that Doc Rivers has had in recent memory in the playoffs, there will be nothing more damning if they lost this series without Joel Embiid. You can't lose to this team because we know that the Philadelphia 76ers are considerably better. No disrespect to Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, who are studs. What I'm saying to you is that we all know this. What we're talking about here is the big picture as it pertains to the Philadelphia 76ers championship aspirations. And with all due respect to my brother, who I love dearly, Doc Rivers, here's the deal. People have to embrace and accept this reality because you see narratives in the world of sports where people are trying to, you could play better than us. You could play better than some of your contemporaries. What we do at the beginning of the season is measure what the expectations are. And I'm speaking on behalf of you, Max, not separate and apart from you. I'm speaking on behalf of us. You measure what your expectations were coming to the season. How many times have we talked about the Orlando Magic this year? Yeah. How many times have we talked about Sacramento Kings this year? How many times have we talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves
But take the best player off any team, the expectations change.
I'm just simply saying we, as analysts, walk into every season looking at what your expectations were. These are championship expectations for these Philadelphia 76ers. We're talking title. They believe they can win the chip. Well, there's several people who picked them to win the chip.
What do you
Not
want
everybody.
Doc Rivers to say at the press conference? We're toast. We don't have Embiid.
No.
But Stephen A., everything you're saying, if you take the best player off of any team, you have to rearrange your expectations.
But what I'm saying to you is that the public, the press that's asking Doc Rivers those questions, he knows good and damn well they're not asking them about the Wizards.
Right, but let's look at what they have.
Championship expectations.
Look, as I said, take the best player off of any team in the league. You don't expect them to win the championship. Any team in the league, take the best player off. If you thought they were going to win the championship, you don't think that anymore, right? Take KD off the Nets, take LeBron off the Lakers, take anyone off of any team, take Embiid off the Sixers, same thing. But let's look at what the Sixers, so we're not talking championship anymore if there's no Embiid. The question is, are they still a powerhouse? Can they win playoff series, compete in the next one, maybe win the next one? Look at what they have without Embiid.
Right.
Without Embiid. Right. Ben Simmons, the Bucks built a team around Giannis this way.
Right.
But Ben Simmons is similar size to Giannis. better handles, an even better passer, better court vision, but shoots it even worse. But look what they have around. Danny Green can 3 and D.
Danny Green,
Seth Curry can shoot the lights out. Thibault is an elite defender already.
Right.
You got guys, Tobias Harris, Kimball. I mean, you got guys on that team.
You're making my point. Because, see, you're talking about, well, we know they're not going to win without Embiid. I'm saying with Embiid, you're not winning with Simmons.
Probably not.
You see,
Probably not.
But
that's because the Nets exist.
No. But what I'm saying is, but you knew the Nets existed at the beginning. Not you. I'm just speaking in general. You knew the Nets existed at the beginning of the season. The bottom line is there were still people that looked at the Nets and said, we still rolling with Philly because we believe in them. And I'm saying to you, from day one, you're a testament to this.
Yep.
The minute the season started, I said, Ben Simmons' lack of a perimeter game is why I'm not picking Philly.
Again, I would just say this.
Final word here.
If Ben Simmons had a problem shooting the way Rondo used to, like early in his career, he really
doesn't
couldn't
even
shoot.
attempt.
The way Giannis, you're right. Ben Simmons has like an insane ineptitude of like outside of even like, I don't know, 8 feet, let's say. He can't score outside of 8 feet. That's a problem. I agree. You're not going to win a championship with a guy like that. He has to shoot it sometimes. But whether Embiid is on the team or not, that's the case. And we're talking about without Embiid right now. Is Doc supposed to not play Simmons? You put him in the dunker spot if you have to.
We got to leave it there. Game 5 tomorrow in Philly. Another major story I can't wait to get into. Naomi Osaka announcing her withdrawal from the French Open. The world's number 2 ranked player made news Monday in a lengthy Twitter post saying the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is if she withdraws. Osaka was scheduled to play in the second round Tuesday. After her first round win Sunday, she was fined $15,000 for skipping the post-match press conference, making good on her vow not to speak with the media in Paris. She faced escalating punishment after being fined, including default from the tournament. And explaining her choice to withdraw from the French Open, Osaka said this: I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, my well-being, as I just said, is to withdraw so that everyone can get back to focusing on tennis going on in Paris. I never wanted to be a distraction. And I accept that my timing was not ideal and my message could have been clearer. The truth is that I've suffered long bouts of depression since the U.S. Open in 2018, and I've had a really hard time coping with that. Serena Williams weighing in.
I feel for Naomi. I feel like I wish I could give her a hug because I know what it's like. Like I said, I've been in those positions. We have different personalities, and people are different. Not everyone is the same. I'm thick, other people are thin. So everyone is different and everyone handles things differently. So, you just have to let her handle it the way she wants to in the best way that she thinks she can. And that's the only thing I can say. I think she's doing the best that she can.
Steph Curry supporting Naomi, tweeting this yesterday: you shouldn't ever have to make a decision like this, but so damn impressive taking the high road when the powers that be don't protect their own. Major respect. Stephen A., I'll start with you here. Should athletes be required to speak to the media after sporting events?
That's a difficult question even for me to answer. I would tell you the answer would be yes. The reason why the answer would be yes is because of a few things. Number one, you know what you signed up for when you decided to be a participant in that respective sport. You have an obligation. And when you sign up for those obligations, fulfilling your commitments matter. When we talk about being role models and having an impact on folks on the come up, and setting the example for others to follow, that comes along with it. Secondly, the media is what enables the sport to be promoted. And the promotion of the sport is what generates the revenue, along with the athlete's performance, of course. And as a result, that's what ultimately assists in the athletes getting paid the money that they get paid. So that can't be ignored. But that doesn't mean that we shred our humanity and ignore the profound impact that mental health issues have and exist with all of us. You can't ignore that. I'm here today with y'all. I don't want to be here today. Today is June 1st. Today marks the 4th year that my mother died. I do not want to be here, but I have a job. I signed up, and the NBA playoffs are going on, and people expect to hear from me. And if I'm going to call in from work, it's because I need to be sick. It's because I need to deal with whatever it is that I have to deal with or whatever. But I don't want to be here today. But I understand my responsibilities. And in her case, what I applaud about her so much is that she's been honest. She didn't just take off. She didn't just snub her nose at the media. Anything. She explained why. Mm-hmm. It makes perfect sense. It showed incredible courage and thoughtfulness on her part. Mm-hmm. And what I would encourage everybody to do is when somebody tells you something like that, you listen to them and you wrap your arms around them, literally, figuratively, or whatever the case may be, and you support them in every way possible and imaginable. But for people to sit up there and say that, well, the French Open was wrong, or Wimbledon, the Australian Open, the U.S. Open were all wrong to like gang up on her. Well, that's assuming they knew. See, when you come out with the press release, Max, and you tell what's going on, well, not the press release, what she did on Twitter, whatever she did, when you let the world know this is what's going on, then that's a different ballgame, as opposed to you just not doing what you were obligated to do, and nobody knows any reason why. There's a difference. She did not do that. And that's why I think it's incredibly important that we support her and we support the millions upon millions of people who go through what she's going through right now, because anxiety wasn't my issue. But of course, I've been devastatingly depressed. And I was in therapy for 3 years. 3 years. Because that's how devastated I have been. And I'll never get over it. I'll never be the same. But acknowledging what my issue was and going to seek help helped me to be able to come on national television and articulate positions like this. Because before, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Didn't know.
Can I just say something really quickly, and then I want to hear from you? That's a beautiful moment. And I appreciate you coming on national television, not just as a man, as a black man, and saying that you were struggling, so you decided to seek help. Because you could have went in a ton of other areas, detrimental vices, but you decided to get better and put in that work, and you're stronger because of it. And I think that's incredible. And I applaud you for saying that today on national television. So thank you. Max?
The answer as to should athletes be required to speak to the media, in my opinion, is yes, they should. And you have to take that with a grain of salt, because we all work in the media. So we have an incentive to want athletes to talk to the media, to us. And incentives shape behavior and opinions in ways that people aren't even always aware of. You don't have to be twirling your mustache, this is in my best interest, but it still shapes the way you think. But I do really believe that. Even having said that, I do really believe that, because even now with the proliferation of media, social media, well, there are ways that you don't need to talk to the media, the so-called legit media or mainstream, in order to reach people. That's true. But especially for niche sports like tennis, you want to reach a broad audience. You want to go to places that are clearinghouses for news so people can consume it and maybe get more people who are casually interested, more interested. Stuff like that. And the media, obviously, the reason leagues have partnerships with the media is they're very lucrative for everybody involved. So you want athletes talking to the media. Now, when mental health issues, which have been stigmatized, which is why we're all talking about the importance of Naomi Osaka talking about this publicly, not running from it, but confronting it. Hey, everybody, this is why I am doing this, and this is why I'm withdrawing now. That's great, because especially someone like Osaka, who everyone seems to admire for good reason. Even the way she's handling this, she's easy to admire. And not just her play on the court, but the way she handles herself. That's great, because it takes away some of the stigma for other people going through the same kind of thing. When your mental health issues that you need to take care of conflict with your professional responsibilities, I think a lot of people like Steph are saying, hey, the employer or the organizer in this case should be sensitive to that. Work with the athlete. Let's figure this out. And maybe going forward they will. But as of right now, wait, hold on. Now we have to make an exception and it's hard to stop down what you're doing and take care of that on a one-off basis when there are rules in place that everyone has to follow. Part of the fear probably is that it'll be a slippery slope, that people will have legitimate mental health issues and others will use it maybe as an excuse to not have to deal with an obligation that's annoying to them, right? And the tennis world and the sports world has to just figure this all out. How can we best go forward? But as of right now, I don't have a problem with the way anyone handled this. I don't have a problem with event organizers saying, wait a minute, we can't make an exception on the fly right now. You got to talk to the media. That's part of your obligation. If you can't fulfill that obligation, we have to fine you. I don't have a problem at all with Naomi Osaka saying, okay, at this point, I'm becoming a distraction, and I'm not equipped at this moment to deal with all the ancillary responsibilities and obligations and play tennis. It's not good for me. I got to step back. I don't have, I know people seem to have a problem with one or the other. I have a problem with the way no one has behaved. I don't have any problem with the way anyone has behaved in this situation, and I think some good can come of it.
This is not a situation where she looked at the media and called them peons, and I don't feel like talking to them or anything like that. She acknowledged this is about her and where she's at and what she's enduring.
Yep.
And I don't think that we have any choice but to completely and totally respect and support her position in that regard.
But I do think we have to take mental health as seriously as physical health for the athletes as well. And I just want to go back to a couple things you said. And this is not challenging you guys at all whatsoever. This is just a discussion based on it. So when you had mentioned, I would only call out if I was sick. So if she's clinically depressed and clinically suffering from anxiety as well, she is sick. Mm-hmm. She's mentally ill. So essentially she is calling out. It's just not physical. Let me just say a couple more things. And if we talk about the importance to growing the sport, I guess where the powers that be in charge of the French Open have to decide, is it better to have Naomi there, not fulfilling media obligations, than not having her at all, the number 2 player in the world? And the last thing I want to say in terms of filling commitments, if it was an athlete and they were dealing with a physical ailment, they might be given a pardon or grace to skip a practice or miss a game. And they would work that out for the athlete. So I think rules do need to change for mental health as well. And I think Naomi could be a catalyst for this. To what you're saying, Max, if she came ahead of time, in effect said, I'm suffering from this, some type of doctor's note, et cetera.
I think those are all good points, Molly.
Wait, I'm not done with the point, though. Mm-hmm. And she goes to the powers that be ahead of time, and she's saying, I would like to participate, but I can't fulfill my media obligations. Can I still? I think they need to look at that and consider that moving forward.
I think those are good points, and I think that last suggestion you made may be one of the things when a lot of people get together and start figuring stuff out, there are different ways to handle it. I think it's a complicated issue in the world of sports because how many athletes throughout the history of American sports or team sports, even worldwide sports, individual and team, have felt unbelievable pressure, have felt like they want to crack, have felt like they've had to play through, just like they have to play through physical injury, have to play through some kind of mental state of or emotional state of being that's not healthy. And so I think some fans will look at it and wonder, well, and even I felt Serena alluded to it. Not everyone's built the same. And then she talked about the physical differences in people, but there are also mental and emotional differences in people. And part of what I'm sure the event organizers and leagues and tours will be concerned with is the idea that there is a difference between feeling pressure, just like there's a difference between hurting, and being injured, really having a mental health issue. And how will they even be able to suss all that out, especially on the fly, where there's no precedent for it?
Well, there's a couple of points. Number one of the things that I said was that when you have people lamenting the fact that all of them seem to gang up on her, mm-hmm. Okay, I'm saying you have a point if they did that after her statement. But if they did it before her statement, then it's entirely possible they didn't know. And if they didn't know, then essentially you're an athlete that's saying, I don't feel like honoring my obligation. And they can't tolerate that. Now, if you acknowledge what she acknowledged, now we have a different ballgame. Because you've publicized it, you've acknowledged it, and now it's calling upon them to have a heightened level of sensitivity. That's one point. the other point, when you talked about depression, anxiety, that is an illness. Well, you're right. The problem is sometimes even you don't know it. Like, I didn't know. My family had to you kind of volatile.
Yeah.
You're not right. Something's not. Look at you on TV. Look at you when you walk in the street. You ready for anything. What's wrong with you? They had to tell me because to me, I was numb. Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered other than my daughters. Nothing. I didn't give a damn whether I lived or died. It didn't matter to me because the greatest human being I have ever known in my life was gone. And so for me, it was like I had to deal with that. I had to channel that in and I had to remember there are people that love me, that I love, that I'm hurting them just by being around them because they see an emptiness. I was gone. And so when you know that you're dealing with something, when you don't know that you're dealing with something like that, it harkens me back, Max, to Muhammad Ali. Why do I bring up Muhammad Ali? Because when we talk about these great athletes, unfortunately, fair or not, in the eyes of fans, it's not just what you can do physically. It's what you can overcome and endure mentally, emotionally, etc. So when they look at you and they hear that you're going through something, in today's generation, there's a level of compassion that we have because we're more educated, more informed, more edified. But back before then, when we weren't as educated about that, there was a significant level of insensitivity that we all harbored. And we said, hell, everybody got to go through something, figure out a way. And you still have people that deal with that today. The difference is when you walk outside the athletic world and you're sitting on television, for example, or you're doing whatever you do, and you go through such a devastating loss. I will never get over, ever, the loss of Janet Smith. Every single day, I am miserable at some point. But because of the loved ones and the support, I can move ahead. And Naomi Osaka and everybody in this world like her that's suffering from mental health issues, they all move forward and survive because there's people that hug them figuratively and literally and say, we here, we get it. And that's the difference between now and what was going on in the past.
Let me just say this quickly. So if you're wondering why I was getting so emotional during that conversation, it's not just because of what you went through, Stephen A. And Max, I know you went through a very challenging time. We've lost, it's not a secret. My husband works here and we've lost 5 people in my family this year. And I know what kind of pain he's in. And I know it's very similar to what you're doing. And to feel like you can't support the person and to feel shut out and wanting to do everything and seeing them hurting. So that's why I'm here. So I apologize to my family. I'm sorry that came out on national television, but it's real.
Dealing with a lot.
It's life, and
Jalen comes to work every day.
Yeah.
And it's
and
been
works through
a really hard couple years, and he really does. And so you're lucky to have amazing people in your inner circle that encouraged you to do that, and I'm glad that you got the help. And
But Jalen's lucky to have you. I watch Jalen all the time because I'm watching him, and I know I don't have to say a word to him. I know what that brother is going through.
It's unreal, and these are examples of acute trauma, right? There's an event that causes trauma and emotional pain. Some people are dealing with general depression or anxiety. And Stephen A. touched on it earlier. He wasn't even aware he was going through it at first, even with an event, right? So physical injury, people understand, I hurt right here. But mental anxiety, emotional trauma, sometimes you're really not aware of it the same way. So that's the importance of Naomi shining a light on it. This shows the importance of that because she's aware of it and she's acting on it as though it's something that happened to her on the court, as though it's a physical injury. It's an emotional and mental issue she has to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. So wasn't expecting this conversation to get so heavy or that to happen, but hopefully it benefits some people at home.
As Red Robin's voiceover artist, I'm here to explain Bottomless. How do I get across free refills on fries and drinks? Well, here goes. Bottomless at Red Robin means free unlimited refills on the fries and sides that come with every burger or entree. That means free refills on steak fries, sweet potato fries, Yukon kettle chips, garlic fries, broccoli, side salad, soft drinks, iced teas, freckled lemonades, and even root beer floats. Offer doesn't expire until your appetite does. Whew, nailed it.
Red Robin. Yum.
Hey, I'm Molly Karen Rose, and you are listening to the First Take podcast. Credit Karma has always been there to help you make better financial decisions. And now they want to help even more. With a Credit Karma Money Spend account, you can be rewarded for good money habits. Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for making purchases. When you use your Credit Karma Money debit card, you can win daily instant Karma purchase reimbursements on items up to $5,000. Just pay with your debit card, and if you win, you'll be notified on the spot, and your instant Karma cash will be added to your spend account. Credit Karma Money has already given away over $3 million in instant Karma to over 50,000 Credit Karma members and counting. Open your FDIC-insured spend account for free. Credit Karma Money. Progress starts here, right now. Visit creditkarma.com/winmoney to open your free account and have the chance to start winning instant Karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. Banking services provided by MVP Bank, Inc., member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
100 days away from the start of the NFL season, Aaron Rodgers is in Hawaii living his best life, frolicking through waterfalls with his fiancée and friends, not mad at him, while his teammates, they're attending OTAs in Green Bay. Well, everyone except his wide receivers, no coincidence. He knew June 1 is an important date in this Rodgers saga. So here's the financial impact. Today's the last day before Aaron Rodgers' cap charge stands at over $38 million. If the Packers trade the reigning MVP anytime after today, the charge will drop nearly in half. Rodgers could be fined over $90,000 if he misses all 3 days of next week's mini camp. June 1 deadline. Who wants to start here? You good?
Doesn't matter.
What message is Rodgers sending, Stephen A?
Y'all can kick rocks. I don't give a damn what y'all think. How y'all feel about me? At 90,000, I'm good. Shoot, I go to Jeopardy. I can make 10 times that much. I'm good. We all right. I don't have to worry about that. And he's right to do so. Because as I repeatedly state, I get upset sometimes, like I think guys like Dan Graziano and others do such a fabulous job for our network, and I appreciate the intel that they provide for us when we're talking about the sport of football. But when I listen, and the reason why I bring up his name in particular is because I've heard many times about, well, the Green Bay Packers are not screwing him over. I mean, he's in a good situation. They're competing for a Super Bowl championship or whatever. And I literally want to scream at my TV like, are you not listening to the guy? It ain't about football. He feels disrespected. This about how you are treated. It matters. Especially when you're somebody like him who's confident enough to know that you could go somewhere else and win, who's confident enough to know that there are a plethora of people out there who would want your services, if not most of the league, okay? You know all of this. And so as a result of it, it's not just about the football. It's about being in an environment where you feel good about getting up and coming to work every day because you like the people you're working with and you like the people you're working for. And at the very least, when it comes to the people he's working for, he does not like them. Gutekunst, Mark Murphy. Those are the two names that come along. Before it was Ted Thompson back in the day. Now it's Gutekunst. And Mark Murphy's been there. He does not like them. He doesn't feel they have treated him right. Period. And everybody that covers football, damn it, stop talking about the football. You know good and damn well that's not what this is about. Look at the Green Bay Packers. They're a Super Bowl contender. Clearly, Gutekunst has done a good job in keeping them afloat and keeping them as title contenders. Stop acting like this is football. You know damn well it's not.
I would say that what Rodgers is saying by sending these, putting these pictures out publicly is, as I've been saying, he is the deciding one. He will call the shots. He's the shot caller. In other words, you can't make me play for you. And he's right. There's an expression, you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face, right? That's the position the Packers are in. They have no power. Well, are they going to cut off their nose to spite their face? That's the only thing they can do. They can say, well, we can't make him play for us, but then he can't play for anyone. So you're going to take a guy who can get you at least 2 first-round picks and other stuff, maybe 3 first-round picks plus other stuff, and say, no, we don't want those things. We'll just take nothing, thank you very much, just to spite it, just to spite him. We'll cut off our nose to spite him. No, they're not going to do that. They will never do that. Therefore, just as I said with James Harden, same thing where you can look around professional sports in the NBA and the NFL at the difference makers, the uppermost elite guys, AD, Aaron Rodgers. Eventually it will dawn on the team. If we want him to stay, we have to change his mind. His mind. There's nothing else we can do. Otherwise, we are going to be forced to trade him to the team of his choosing. Because all it takes is his agent picking up the phone saying, he's not going to really want to play for you. Well, then they're not going to trade for him. So eventually it will dawn on the Packers. We either change his mind to stay here, or he will tell us where we're going to trade him. That's what at Rodgers' pictures, everything he does is showing that. He is calling the shots.
I don't want to say he's calling the shots, because if he was calling the shots, he'd officially not be a Green Bay Packer. They got something to do with it.
The shots take a little while
You're
to go
saying
down.
he's a made man, pretty much. Come on.
James Harden, AD,
He's
Aaron
that bad
Rodgers.
man, Aaron.
He's a made man. And listen, you know what I think about when I think about Aaron Rodgers? You know, and Aaron Rodgers may not realize this, but I'm going to tell you, without him even knowing, at this particular moment in his life and his career, who his idol is. Irvin Magic Johnson. A couple of years ago, Irvin Magic Johnson, little scuttlebutt news, Lakers, all this stuff going on, Rob Link, everything else. Irvin Magic Johnson, last game of the season, LeBron warming up, stretching on the court. Irvin Magic Johnson, I quit. I don't need this. Life's too short.
Yeah.
I don't need the stress. And he can afford to do that. If you really, really think about it, Irvin Magic Johnson is all of our idols. He's the idol of every working man, if not in this nation, in the world. Because every working man aspires to be in a position that says, I don't need this.
Well, think about what the Buss family did.
This.
Go back. Magic is a great example from decades ago when he was a player. Mm-hmm. The Lakers had a coach who was not playing the right style that made Magic happy. Magic, because he was so important to the franchise, Dr. Jerry Buss, the greatest owner by far in the history of American team sports, by far. Don't bring Steinbrenner, I'm a Yankees fan. Stop it. It's Buss. Realize, wait a minute. This dude is the franchise. We have to make this guy happy. The Packers have not realized that about Aaron Rodgers. They've gone in the opposite direction.
That's it. That's what it is. I mean, you got somebody.
I like that Magic Johnson perspective, though.
Listen,
it's true. It's true. At some point, he's in a position to say, I don't need to deal with this anymore.
I'm talking to Magic.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. The Lakers, you're going to get Anthony Davis in a month or two. Yeah. You're going to bring the title. Magic was like this. My brother, I got to be happy.
And he's got a lot going on.
I'm not happy. Yeah. He said, I don't need this. Life is too short. And my life overall is too good to allow this negativity to invade my space. I'm quoting it.
I love it. Protect your peace.
To protect your peace. He said, to allow this negativity to invade my space, I'm done.
I love it.
And he's good.
Just like that.
Magic's good.
And who the hell
can say something? But he's putting a lot of work to get there, that's for sure.
Hey, it's Dan Patrick here to tell you about the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. I've teamed up with Full Sail University to create a sportscasting bachelor's degree. You work both on and behind the cameras, and you build skills for the future of sports so you can connect with audiences no matter where they are or how they're tuning in. Learn more about Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting by going to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick School.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing to listen to another episode of your favorite podcast. And with our top-rated app, you can deposit checks and transfer money anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Celtics fans weren't the only ones fired up with Kyrie Irving for stomping on Lucky the Leprechaun on center court in Boston. Well, a Hall of Famer who once kissed the emblem, not having it. Celtics great Kevin Garnett posting on IG. So nobody going to say anything about Kyrie stomping on Lucky. We're just going to act like we didn't see that. You can't do that. That's not cool on no level. All of us need to be better. Big baby Glenn Davis also chimed in with, like I said, you step on Lucky, you step on everybody that played for that team. Keep that expletive basketball before somebody gets hurt in real life. Now, this incident, of course, took a backseat to a fan throwing a water bottle at Kyrie on Sunday night. That fan, 21-year-old Massachusetts native Cole Buckley, was banned from TD Garden and will be arraigned Tuesday on a charge of assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon. Local police told reporters that. Let's bring in a champion with the Boston Celtics. There he is. Kendrick Perkins with us. Good to see you, Big Perk. And I want to start with you here and get that player perspective. What do you make of former Celtics coming out and attacking Kyrie's actions?
Well, first of all, I want to say, I love my brothers KG and Big Baby, and I love my Celtic Nation. But I'm gonna say this: I don't give a damn if Kyrie Irving dropped it like it was hot on the damn logo. At the end of the day, look, you cannot tell the player how to celebrate. He didn't hurt nobody, okay? This game is built off emotions. Excuse me, last time I checked, wasn't the fans booing Kyrie? Wasn't the fans sitting up there yelling, F you, Kyrie? And Kyrie went out in game 4 and almost had a 40-piece wing dinner and grabbed 10 biscuits, meaning grabbed 11 rebounds in that game. So at the end of the day, he was playing with a lot of emotions. They disrespected Kyrie the entire game. You cannot have it both ways. You can't dish it out and not be willing to accept it. So it don't bother me that Kyrie did what he did. He had the right to do whatever the hell he wanted to do after having a performance like he did. So Celtic fans, my brother KG, Big Baby, I love you all, but y'all got to get out y'all feelings. If he would have stood on the damn scores table, I wouldn't have given a damn, because Kyrie did what he was supposed to do in a hostile environment. He handled his business, and now you just got to move on. Telling me about a damn Lucky logo. The logo, same floor they pulled up the night before, the same floor that they could buff out if it has scuff marks in it. I don't want to hear that.
It did not surprise me that KG said something. And I pointed it out yesterday that the fan who got ejected, the fan who threw the water bottle, and should be prosecuted. You can't throw stuff at people. It doesn't matter if you're in an arena. You didn't leave the United States. You didn't leave the state you're in. You're subject to laws. You got to still act like you're in civilization, because you are. So that fan got removed and he should be prosecuted. He was wearing a KG jersey. And we were all quick to talk about the racial component to this. And maybe there is a racial component to it that the fan is not aware of, like that he needs to be more sensitive to in a larger sense. But maybe what that fan was thinking was wearing the KG jersey was, boy, KG knew the Celtic way. He showed up, gave his all to the franchise, loved this place, won a championship. Is a true Celtic. And Kyrie showed up. We were better off without him than with him. He said he'd never leave, and then he bounced. Then he comes back and disrespects our logo center court. That is not an excuse to throw something at someone. That is not an excuse. I don't think KG is saying it's an excuse. He's just pointing out that people are mad at Kyrie. Doesn't excuse the behavior. They're mad at Kyrie. I understand what KG is saying. I get it. That does not mean a fan gets to break the law. I mean, go ahead, break the law and now suffer the consequences. So Perk, I get what KG is saying, and I don't think KG, Big Baby, came closer to saying, hey, before it gets real. He walked up to that line closer than KG did. KG was just talking about the emotional side of it.
Let me say this. I'm actually upset that I have to talk about KG today, because when I talk about KG, what I wanted to bring up was how happy I am for him that he is a Hall of Famer, that his speech was great, that he deserved it, and I appreciate what KG has meant to the game, because when you talk about a cat, we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook in a similar light when he goes into the Hall of Fame someday. Dudes that
Maniacs.
Dudes that never cheated us.
Yeah.
When they stepped on the court, they never cheated us. You always knew they were giving 100% trying to win. You knew that, okay? And so I got love for KG, and I got love for Big Baby. But this was not the time to say such a thing. I mean, my God. Time ain't, maybe it ain't everything, but damn it, it's pretty close to it sometimes. You got some white kid that's 21 years old. Yes, he was wearing a Garnett jersey, but exhibiting his punk tendencies, deciding to stand up in the fans and throw a bottle at Kyrie Irving that came 2 inches away from his head. That ain't the time to sit up there and bring up some stuff about stepping on some logo. Especially when Kyrie Irving talked about y'all before he got there. Then got there, dropped 39 and won. You had ample opportunity to shut him up. You didn't succeed. As KP said, you gotta stomach that. I don't give a damn if he dropped it while it's hot on the damn logo. Handle your business against him. That's how you shut him up. And KG knows that better than anybody. And Big Baby knows it too. Why would you pick this time to make that point about Kyrie Irving? Because understand, and the fan, that little punk that did that stuff, let's understand something here. You know you had an opportunity for Kyrie Irving to be considered a huge villain in the eyes of a lot of people if you had never thrown the bottle. But by being that punk, you made it a story about you and your insidious behavior as opposed to Kyrie. And KG and Glenn Big Baby Davis, you can't tell me that you think that should be the story instead of the cat throwing a bottle at one of your former contemporaries. I don't believe. I love KG and Big Baby. I know them well enough. You can't tell me that that's what you support. I don't believe that.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, right, the guy that threw the bottle, we all know he was wrong. But I'm talking about the emotions of the game in itself. Yeah. Forget all the outside noise. Forget what happened with with Kyrie making a statement with the racism. I'm talking about the game itself. All right, and just the emotions and the fans and how they really disrespected Kyrie. I mean, screaming F you, Kyrie, is disrespectful. Kyrie took it like a man. He went into game 4 and he handled his business in the Garden. How that man wanted to leave out and walk out through that tunnel or how he wanted to celebrate, that's his damn business. And I don't see a problem with how he celebrated. Being a guy that played with a sense of tenacity, watching KG also play with a certain type of tenacity, especially on the road, watching him go back and forth with fans, you love that type of energy. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think Stephen A's, your point is very well taken about, like, you wanted Kyrie to be the villain. That's gone now. You just, if you're a Celtic fan and you're like, oh, look what he did. No one feels, and no one feels bad about Kyrie now. You've totally washed that away.
I just want to say one thing real quick, Perk, and this will make you smile. I will never forget when you talk about the energy and intensity of KG. When you guys won the chip, I think it was at the Garden, beat the Lakers back in 2008, and he had that rallying cry. And my dad's a diehard Celtics fan because they would come and play at the Hartford Civic Center. I grew up in Connecticut. And when he screamed out, anything is possible, whenever I hear KG, I will think about that. That's one of my favorite moments in sports. And that was obviously a very good day for you, sir.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is LG Granderson here to tell you about my new podcast from ABC Audio called Life Out Loud. This show is all about preserving the history and honoring the contributions of the LGBTQ community. Each week, I'll talk to some of the most fascinating people paving the way toward a more inclusive world. These conversations can get heavy, but this show is also going to be filled with so much joy. And I mean, after all, we are called gay people, right? So got to be some happiness in there somewhere. Check out Life Out Loud with me, LZ Granderson, wherever you get your podcasts.